Hi everyone, it's Annie, and I'm back today with my December TBR video. I am super excited for all the books I'm planning to read this month, so let's get right into it. The first book that I want to read is Rune Song by Julia Ember. Now, I talked about this in my end of the year tag because I am so excited about it. It's described as a dark and lush LGBT fantasy, which that sounds very exciting. So the main character has been forced to torture her country's disgraced nobility by her evil queen that she works for with her magic. And in this world, magic is sung. But now she has a problem because one of the disgraced nobility is her childhood friend, and she has to choose between her country and her queen or her feelings for her childhood friend and ending the oppression of this disgraced nobility. So this sounds like a really promising book, and it is coming out at the end of November. While I'm filming this, it's still not out yet. But I've heard really good things from people who have read an arc, so I'm very excited to read this. The next book I want to read that I also talked about in my end of the year tag is A Curse of Roses by Diana Pinguicha. And this is an own voices LGBT sapphic retelling of a Portuguese legend, which sounds amazing. So the main character, Isabel, has a curse, and whenever she eats something, she can't eat it. It turns into flowers in her mouth. And because Portugal has a famine, that's not good, because she's wasting food trying to eat, but she's also starving. So she has to figure out how to break this curse. And she found the one girl who can do it, but she has to free her by kissing her before she can help her. So that sounds amazing. I am really excited for this. This is one of my most highly anticipated reads of December. I believe it comes out December 1st, so as soon as it comes out, I really hope my library gets it. Really hope. A lot of the books on this TBR are coming out in December, so I'm kind of in a risky place here because sometimes my library either doesn't get the new releases for a while or they just forget about them, so I'm hoping this time is different because I really want to read this. The next book I want to read is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. I have been wanting to read this since I heard about it, so for a while now, and it's described as a locked room mystery that Agatha Christie would envy. And since I just read Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, I think I will really like this book. The title character, Evelyn Hardcastle, relives one day over and over again. And at the end of this day, she's always murdered by one of the guests in this manner. And in order to break this cycle of dying every day, the main character named Aiden has to figure out who commits this murder. So this sounds amazing. I've heard great things about this book. It's pretty widely talked about here, so I am very excited to read this. The next book I want to read is a nonfiction book called Wintering: The Power of Rest and Retreat in Difficult Times by Catherine May. Now, this book explores how to recover and why it's good to take a break from things and focus on yourself and go into yourself and what brings you comfort in really difficult life situations. I believe the author writes about her experience dealing with a husband's illness and her son's mental health problems due to this, and I am really looking forward to reading this. I hope that I get some good advice from this because I could really use it at the moment. I know the past year, 2020, has been really difficult for everyone with the pandemic and so many natural disasters and so much violence and just hardship everywhere. But also personally, in my life and my relationships, things have been really, really difficult. So one of the reasons that I started this booktube channel is because I wanted to focus on myself and do something that would really bring me comfort. And I think it's been good, and I hope this book explores the topic even more. And of course, the title fits in really well with this month because it's December, so I wanted to read more wintry books, and this book definitely fits that. The next book I'm planning on reading is the sequel to The Empress of Salt and Fortune, When the Tigers Came Down the Mountain by Nivo. And this book comes out December 8th, so again, I'm really hoping that my library takes my recommendation on Libby and buys this book so I can read it as soon as it comes out. So in this sequel, the cleric Chi, who we followed in the first book, which I highly recommend, is traveling and they get stopped by these tigers, and in order to survive, they have to unwind a story about the tiger and her scholar lover. And I love the world that this story is set in. I love Chi, the main character. They are non-binary, and I am just so excited to read the continuation of this story and learn more about Chi and their world. The next book I want to read definitely fits with my theme of winter books, and that is The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. I have been wanting to read this since it first came out. I don't know why it's taken me so long, but it has. So I'm really, really excited to read this book. It's based on Russian fairy tales, which amazing. I am really interested in Russian culture and books and just everything about Russia, so I am really excited about this. The gist of the story is that the main character's mother dies and her father brings back her new stepmother from Moscow, but they live in rural Siberia. And while her stepmother is devoutly religious, this family still honor and worship the old gods, or the nature spirits that they have been worshiping for a long time. And this stepmother forbids the family from doing so, and things start going wrong around their house and with their crops. So this story just sounds amazing, and I know that this isn't a standalone, so if I like the first book, which I'm pretty sure I will probably also be reading, I believe there's 2 more if I'm not mistaken, this month as well. The next book I want to read is called The Mermaid from Jeju by Sumi Han. And this book also has not come out yet. It's supposed to come out on December 8th. Now, this doesn't look very wintry, but I am so excited to read this. This sounds like something I would absolutely love because I did my university thesis on partly on the cultural aftermath of the Japanese colonization of Korea and the aftermath of World War II on Korea and things like that. So that is the setting for this novel. The main character, Junja, is a diver, and she dives for deep-sea delicacies like abalone and things like that, and she's going to make a trip to the mountains to trade these delicacies for pork. So while she's on this journey, her mother dies on a dive, and she comes back and her family is in shambles. She only has her grandmother left, and her sibling goes to live with her estranged father. But while this is happening and she's dealing with her own personal grief, she also has to deal with the aftermath of the Japanese colonization being over in Korea and the new American military forces that have come largely unwelcomed to Korea in their place. So I am very excited to read this. I am really, really personally interested in this period in history, and I really recommend this, especially if you liked Pachinko, which I also really liked. I really recommend this book. I'm already recommending it even though I haven't even read it yet, but it just seems that good. The next book I want to read is a short novella called The Fourth Island by Sarah Tolmie. I hope I pronounced that name right. It is about a small hidden island off the Irish coast, and the premise is that no one can find it unless they are in a dark place. For example, if they're drowned at sea, or exiled, or something like that. And I've heard really, really good things about this, and the atmosphere of the book seems very dark and cold and wintry feeling, so I'm excited to read this. And the last book on this TBR is the first book in the Murderbot series, All Systems Red, by Martha Wells. Now, I've heard great things about this series. I've been wanting to read it for a while again, and I really want to read something sci-fi, because a lot of the sci-fi books that I've read this year haven't been that great, to be honest. So I'm really hoping that this book is really good. And basically it's about this android, self-aware security robot thing that becomes self-aware and is intelligent, and now it refers to itself as Murderbot, and the people who built this Murderbot have to deal with that. So it sounds like a really interesting premise, and I've heard that it's really, really entertaining, so I'm looking forward to reading it. Alright guys, and that is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm really looking forward to reading these books in December, and please let me know in the comments down below whether you've read any of these books or what your TBR list is looking like for December. I'd really love to talk to you about it. Alright, if you liked this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time. Bye!